They sent an SOS to their allies, but the Deathworlders' fleet arrived instead. The alarm bells screamed through every corridor of the ship. Commander Thesson held onto his chair as another explosion shook the walls. His hands were shaking. He had never been in a fight before. None of his people had. The Velosians were peaceful. They made art and studied the stars. They did not build weapons or train soldiers. Outside the windows, he could see the enemy ships. The Krell warships looked like metal sharks circling around wounded prey. They had appeared without warning just 2 hours ago. Now his colony ship was dying. 300 families were trapped inside. Mothers, fathers, children, all of them counting on him to save them. "Send the distress signal again," Thesson said. His voice cracked a little. He cleared his throat and tried to sound stronger. "Use all the emergency channels. Our allies need to know we are in trouble." His communications officer was a young woman named Corin. She was barely out of training school. Her fingers moved fast across her control panel. "Commander, the Krell are blocking most of our signals. I can only send out a weak beam. I do not know if anyone will hear it." Thesson closed his eyes for a moment. The Velosian people had joined the Galactic Coalition 5 years ago. They were promised protection. The Thenari and the Roquil were supposed to be their friends. They were supposed to keep ships like his safe from raiders and pirates. But where were they now? The ship shook again. This time it was worse. The lights flickered. Somewhere below them, people were screaming. Thesson could hear it through the walls. "Hull breach on deck 6, someone shouted. "We are losing air." "Seal that section," Thesson ordered. "Get everyone out of there first." Corin looked up from her station. Her face was pale blue with fear. Velosians turned that color when they were terrified. "Commander, I got the signal out." But something strange happened. It bounced off a relay station and went somewhere else. Somewhere else? What do you mean? I mean it did not go to the Thenari fleet. It went to a different sector. A sector I have never seen on our maps before. Thesson did not have time to worry about that. Another Krell ship was moving into position. He could see its weapons starting to glow. They were going to fire again. His ship could not take another hit. "All power to shields," he said quietly. "It will not be enough." "But do it anyway." Corin was crying now. She did not try to hide it. "I am sorry, Commander. I tried to reach our friends. I tried so hard." "You did well," Thesson told her. "You did everything right." He thought about his wife back home on Velos Prime. He thought about his daughter. She was only 6 years old. He had promised her he would be home in 3 months. He had promised to bring her a rock from the new colony world. Just a simple rock to add to her collection. Now he would never see her again. The Krell ship fired. The beam of energy was bright red. It crossed the space between the ships in less than a second. Thesson braced himself for the impact, but then something impossible happened. The space in front of his ship seemed to tear open. Reality bent and twisted in ways that hurt to look at. And then ships started to appear. Not 1 or 2. 12 ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel right in front of the Harmony's light. But these were not Thenari ships. They were not Roquil ships either. These ships were made of dark metal and sharp angles. They had weapons everywhere. Big guns, small guns, missile tubes. They looked like they were built for only one purpose. War. One of the new ships was huge. It was 3 times the size of the biggest Thenari cruiser Thesson had ever seen. It moved between his colony ship and the Krell destroyer. The red energy beam hit the newcomer's shields and just stopped. The big ship did not even shake. "What is happening?" Corin whispered. Thesson could not answer. He did not know. A voice came through the radio. It spoke Galactic Common, but with an accent Thesson had never heard. The words were a bit rough, like the speaker was not used to the language. "Velosian ship. This is Captain Daniel Hayes of the Earth Defense Force carrier Valiant. We got your distress call. Get your people to the safest part of your ship. There is going to be a fight." "Earth?" Thesson said. "I do not know that world." "Who are you?" But the newcomer did not answer him. Instead, the voice spoke again. This time it was talking to the Krell, and this time it was cold and hard. "Krell ships, this is Captain Hayes. You attacked someone who asked for help. We answered that call. You have 30 seconds. Power down your weapons and leave. If you do not, we will treat you as enemies." Thesson held his breath. The Krell were proud warriors. They did not back down from fights. He knew what would happen next. The Krell destroyer fired again. Every weapon it had, plasma beams and particle cannons all focused on the big carrier. The human ship's shields glowed bright white. The attack was massive. It should have destroyed any ship, but when the light faded, the carrier called Valiant was still there. It had not moved. It was not even damaged. The human captain's voice came back. Now it sounded almost sad. That was a mistake. All ships, you are free to engage. Show them what happens when they pick a fight with Earth. And then the human ships opened fire. Thesson had never seen anything like it. The weapons were not like Coalition technology. They were primitive, simple. They fired chunks of metal using magnetic acceleration. Just solid slugs of iron and steel moving incredibly fast. But they worked. One of the metal slugs hit a Krell cruiser. It went right through the shields like they were not even there. The chunk of metal punched a hole through the ship from front to back. The cruiser exploded. Smaller human ships were moving now, fighters. They were so fast it was hard to track them. They dodged and weaved between the Krell ships. Their pilots must have been experiencing crushing force from those movements. Nothing should be able to survive accelerations like that, but somehow they did. Missiles launched from the human fighters. Some of them were nuclear weapons. Actual atomic bombs used in space combat. It was insane. It was barbaric. It was working. 2 more Krell ships died in nuclear fire. Commander, Corin said. Her voice was full of shock. What are these humans? How are they doing this? Thesson shook his head slowly. He was watching the battle on his screens. The humans were outnumbered. 12 ships against 23, but they were winning. Easily. The big carrier fired its main guns. 6 Krell ships were hit at the same time. 3 of them simply broke apart. The other 3 were crippled and drifting. The Krell tried to run. Finally they understood. They were not fighting normal prey. They were fighting something far more dangerous. The human ships let them go. They did not chase. They just formed a protective circle around the Harmony's light. Captain Hayes spoke again. This time his voice was gentle. Harmony's light, this is Valiant. Your ship is badly damaged. We can see that from here. We would like to send teams over to help. Medical teams and engineers. Will you allow us to dock with your ship? Thesson realized he was crying. Not from fear this time. From relief. Yes, please. We have wounded. Many wounded, and our ship is dying. Help is on the way, Commander. Just hold on a little longer. Thesson looked at Corin. She was smiling through her tears. Around the bridge, his crew was cheering. They had been saved. By strangers. By humans from a world called Earth that none of them had ever heard of. But they were alive. The distress call had been answered. Just not by the friends they expected. They sent an SOS to their allies, but the Deathworlders' fleet arrived instead. The human transport ship attached itself to the airlock with a heavy clang. Commander Thesson stood waiting with his remaining officers. His chief engineer Palix was beside him. So was Corin and the medical director. A calm older Velocian named Senna. They were all exhausted. The battle had ended an hour ago, but they had been running on emergency power and fear for much longer than that. Are you nervous? Corin asked quietly. Yes, Thesson admitted. We know nothing about these humans, only that they are very good at fighting. The airlock door opened with a hiss. Steam poured out into the corridor, and then the humans entered. The first one through was a woman in dark armor. She carried a weapon that looked too big for anyone to hold, but she held it easily like it weighed nothing. Her eyes swept across the Velocian greeting party. Those eyes were different from any Thesson had seen. They pointed forward, not to the sides. Predator eyes, hunter eyes, but then she smiled. The expression changed her whole face. She looked kind. Commander Thesson? She asked. Her voice was surprisingly gentle. I am Lieutenant Kate Morrison, United Earth Marines. We are here to help your people. More humans came through behind her. Some wore armor like Morrison. Others wore different uniforms. Engineering suits, medical clothing. All of them were tall, much taller than Velocians. Their muscles were thick and dense. They looked strong enough to bend metal with their bare hands. Thesson tried not to show his fear. Lieutenant Morrison, welcome to the Harmony's light. Thank you for coming. We need help badly, Morrison nodded. She made a gesture with her hand and her soldiers spread out, checking the corridor. My team will secure this area. Our engineers and doctors will go where you need them most. Where should they start? Medical Director Senna stepped forward. She was trying to be brave, but Thesson could see her hands shaking. Our medical bay is overwhelmed. We have 43 injured. 12 are critical. They will die soon without better care than we can give them right now. A human man moved forward from the group. He was older, with gray in his hair. His face had wrinkles around his eyes. He carried medical equipment that looked very advanced. I am Dr. Paul Grant. My team brought surgical gear and medicine synthesizers. We will need information about Velocian biology, but we can stabilize your critical patients right away. Synthesizers? Senna asked. That technology is very rare. Very expensive. Dr. Grant smiled a little. Not for us. When you come from a dangerous world, you learn to make good medical equipment fast. Show me to your patients. We should not waste time talking. Senna led the medical team away down the corridor. Thesson watched them go. The human doctor moved with confidence, like he had done this many times before. Engineer Palax approached another group of humans. These ones wore tool belts and carried large cases of equipment. I am Chief Engineer Palax. Our main power system is failing. We have holes in the hull on 3 decks. Life support is barely working. A human woman grinned at him. She had dirt on her face and her hands looked rough from hard work. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Chen, Engineering. We brought welders, hull patches, and a portable power generator. Let me see your damage reports and we will get started. Palax looked shocked. A portable fusion generator? Those are massive. How did you bring one on that small transport? Chen laughed. Ours are smaller than yours, I guess. More efficient. Come on, show me what needs fixing first. Soon Thesson was alone in the corridor with Lieutenant Morrison and her soldiers. The Marines stood at relaxed attention, their weapons held ready but not threatening. Morrison herself had lowered her rifle. Your people move very fast, Thesson observed. Very organized. We trained for this, Morrison said. Emergency response, disaster relief, ship rescue. It is part of what we do. She paused. Can I ask you something, Commander? Of course. Do we frighten you? You and your crew. I can see it in how you look at us. Thesson considered lying. But something about the human woman's direct gaze made him tell the truth. Yes, you frighten us. You are predators. We can see it. The way you move. The way your eyes track movement. Your strength. Everything about you says danger. Morrison nodded slowly. That is fair. And honest. I appreciate that. She looked at her soldiers, then back at Thesson. We are predators. You are right about that. Humans evolved as hunters on a very dangerous world. Earth is what scientists call a death world. High gravity. Violent weather. Deadly animals everywhere. I read a little about Earth in our database, Thesson said. What I found was frightening. Your world sounds like a nightmare. It can be, Morrison agreed. But it is our home, and it made us tough, strong, good at fighting. She leaned against the wall, her posture becoming less formal. But here is the thing, Commander. Earth also taught us to work together, to take care of each other, to protect the weak and help the wounded. Why? Thesson asked. If you are hunters, why care about the weak? Morrison smiled again. Because alone, humans die. We are not the biggest predator on Earth. We are not the strongest or the fastest. What we are is smart and social. We survive by forming groups, by caring about our group members. Even the ones who cannot fight. One of her soldiers spoke up, a young man with a friendly face. My grandmother is 80 years old. She cannot hunt or fight anymore, but my family takes care of her. She tells us stories and teaches the children. Every member of the group matters, Morrison nodded. That is who humans are, Commander. Yes, we are dangerous. Yes, we can fight, but we also know when to protect instead of attack. When we heard your distress call, we did not think about payment or politics. We just knew someone needed help. Thesson felt something inside him relax a little. I think I understand. You are predators with honor. We try to be, Morrison said. Down the corridor there was a sound of metal being cut. The human engineers were already working. Through a doorway, Thesson could hear Dr. Grant's voice giving calm instructions to his team. The humans were everywhere now, helping, fixing, saving. Your Captain Hayes, Thesson said. He was very calm during the battle. Like fighting is normal for him. Captain Hayes has been in the military for 30 years, Morrison explained. He fought in the Earth border wars, then the Mars independence conflict. Then he led the first deep space exploration missions. He has seen a lot of combat. And you? How long have you been a soldier? 10 years. I joined when I was 18, fought against pirates in the outer colonies, did rescue missions on stations that lost life support, pulled miners out of collapsed tunnels. She looked thoughtful. Most of my career has been helping people, actually. Fighting is just part of the job. An alarm sounded from deeper in the ship. Morrison's soldiers instantly raised their weapons and moved into defensive positions. The speed of their reaction was incredible. Then a voice came over the intercom. It was Palix, Commander, do not worry. The alarm is just from the engineering deck. We are rerouting power. Everything is under control. Morrison's team relaxed immediately. They lowered their weapons and returned to their casual positions. The whole reaction had taken maybe 3 seconds. You thought we were being attacked, Thesson said. Always ready for the worst, Morrison agreed. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. That is another human saying. Over the next hour, reports started coming in from all over the ship. The human medical team had stabilized all 12 critical patients. They were now working on the less serious injuries. The engineering team had patched 2 of the hull breaches and were working on the 3rd. The portable fusion generator was installed and running, bringing power back to the damaged sections. Dr. Grant came to find Thesson personally. The human doctor looked tired but satisfied. Commander, your people are going to be fine. We had to improvise some treatments. Philosian biology is different from human, but the basics are the same. We stopped the bleeding, repaired the damage, gave them synthetic blood to replace what they lost. They will live? Thesson asked. They will live, Grant confirmed. You have a good medical director. Senna is very skilled. She kept them alive long enough for us to help. Thesson felt tears in his eyes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Grant put a hand on Thesson's shoulder. The gesture was gentle despite the human's obvious strength. You are welcome. This is what we do. This is what we are for. Lieutenant Commander Chen appeared next, covered in even more dirt than before. She was grinning. Commander, your ship is going to fly again. We patched the holes, reinforced the damaged structure. Your main power coupling needed a complete rebuild, but we had spare parts. Well, we had parts that we made work. Give us another day and you will be spaceworthy. A day? Thesson was shocked. Our engineers said it would take a week in a proper shipyard. Chen shrugged. We are very motivated. Also, human engineering is built for quick repairs. We assume everything will break eventually, so we design systems that are easy to fix. Because of your dangerous world? Thesson guessed. Exactly. When your habitat dome is being hit by a hurricane and meteor shower at the same time, you need to fix things fast. Thesson shook his head in wonder. These humans were unlike anyone he had ever met. Dangerous and kind, powerful and helpful. They had saved his ship and his people without asking for anything in return. Why are you really helping us? They sent an SOS to their allies, but the Deathworlders fleet arrived instead. 3 days had passed since the battle. Commander Thesson stood on the observation deck of the human carrier Valiant, looking out at his ship. The Harmony's light looked almost new. The human engineers had done more than just patch the damage. They had reinforced the entire structure, fixed systems that were not even broken yet, made improvements to the power distribution network. Captain Daniel Hayes stood next to him. The human captain was tall and solid, with gray hair and quiet eyes. Over the past few days, Thesson had learned to read human expressions a little better. Hayes looked relaxed now, but those eyes never stopped watching everything. Your engineers are amazing, Thesson said. I thought my ship would need months of repair work, but Lieutenant Commander Chen fixed everything in 3 days. Hayes chuckled. It was a warm sound. Lisa does not know how to do anything slowly. She pushes her teams hard, but they love her for it. She gets results. Captain, I need to ask you something important. Go ahead. What will you do now? Will you return to Earth space? This is not your territory. You said you were exploring when you found us. Hayes turned to look at him. Actually, we have been talking to your coalition government. A lot of talking. Messages going back and forth between here and Earth, and between here and your capital world. Thesson felt curious. What are they saying? Well, the Coalition Diplomatic Corps was very surprised to learn about us. They had no idea humans existed, no idea Earth existed. We have been operating in this region of space for 6 months and nobody noticed us. 6 months? Thesson was shocked. How is that possible? Hayes smiled a little. We are quiet when we want to be. We set up relay stations, mapped systems, explored empty space. We did not make contact because we wanted to understand the political situation first, learn who was friendly and who was dangerous. And then you heard our distress call. And then we heard your distress call. Hayes agreed, which changed everything. We could not ignore people in trouble, so we revealed ourselves. The Sand thought about this. The Coalition must have many questions. Oh, they have questions. Hundreds of questions. About Earth, about our technology, about our intentions. Hayes crossed his arms. But we have questions too. About the Coalition. About the Krell. About how your alliance works. The Krell have been a problem for years, Thesson explained. They are a warrior culture. They believe strength is everything. They keep testing our borders, attacking weak targets. We push them back with technology and defensive pacts, but it is always difficult. Hayes nodded slowly. We noticed. In our 6 months of observation, we saw 3 other Krell raids. Small ones. They seem to attack ships that cannot defend themselves. That is their way. They are bullies. Earth has dealt with bullies before, Hayes said quietly. We know how to handle them. There was something in his voice that made Thesson look at him closely. What are you proposing, Captain? Earth Command has an idea. A proposal for the Coalition. We are new to this part of space. We do not understand the politics or the history. We need guides, teachers, friends. Hayes paused. The Coalition, on the other hand, needs protection. You need someone who can fight the Krell and make them think twice. You want to join the Coalition? As equal partners. Not as junior members or assistants. We share our military strength and defensive technology. You share your scientific knowledge and help us navigate galactic society. Everyone benefits. Thesson felt excited and nervous at the same time. Many species will be afraid of humans. You are from a death world. You are predators. Your first response to problems is overwhelming force. Hayes did not look offended. That is fair. We are what we are. But Commander, let me tell you something about humans. We did not survive Earth by being the strongest or the most violent. We survived by cooperating, by forming communities, by taking care of each other. Lieutenant Morrison told me something similar. She is right. Yes, we can fight. Yes, we are good at it. But fighting is not our first choice. It is our last choice. Hayes gestured out the window at the Harmony's light. We saved your ship not because we wanted something from you. We did it because it was right. That is who humans are. The door to the observation deck opened. A human woman entered. She wore a formal diplomatic uniform and carried a data pad. She looked important. Captain Hayes, Commander Thesson, she said with a nod. I am Ambassador Helen Price. I just arrived from Earth to handle the negotiations with the Coalition. Thesson did a small bow, the Velosian sign of respect. Ambassador Price, welcome. Price smiled. Thank you, Commander. I have been reading the reports about what happened here. You and your crew went through quite an ordeal. I am glad you are safe. Thanks to Captain Hayes and his people. Which is exactly why I am here, Price said. She looked at Hayes. Captain, I need you to attend the Coalition Council meeting tomorrow. They want to meet the officer who engaged the Krell. Hayes looked uncomfortable. I am a ship captain, not a diplomat. You are a hero who saved 300 lives, Price countered. Your presence will help our case. Show them that humans are not just warriors, that we are people who care. Hayes sighed. Fine, but you do most of the talking. Price turned to Thesson. Commander, they want you there too, as a witness, to tell them what happened from your perspective. Thesson felt nervous. I am just a colony ship, Commander. I have never spoken to the High Council before. You are the Velosian who experienced first contact with humanity, Price said gently. Your voice matters. Your people need to hear what you saw, what you experienced. Over the next day, Thesson prepared his testimony. He reviewed the logs from the battle, watched the recordings, talked to his crew about what they remembered. Corin helped him organize his thoughts. Are you going to tell them we were terrified of the humans at first? Corin asked. Yes, Thesson said. I am going to tell them the truth. That we were scared, but also that the humans were kind. That they helped without asking for anything. That they are good people despite being dangerous. The next morning, a human shuttle took them to Coalition Station Prime. Thesson had been to the station twice before, but it never stopped being impressive. It was a massive structure, built by a dozen species working together. Different architectural styles blended into one beautiful whole. The council chamber was at the center of the station. It was a huge room with seats arranged in circles, each level higher than the last. Representatives from every coalition species sat in those seats. Hundreds of beings watching as Thesson, Hayes, and Price entered. At the highest level sat the High Council. 7 beings, each representing one of the founding species. The Thanari Chancellor Crystallis sat in the center. His body was made of living crystal that reflected the light in beautiful patterns. "This session is called to order," Crystallis said. His voice was translated instantly into a dozen languages. "We are here to discuss the matter of Earth and the human species, their sudden appearance, their engagement with the Krell, and their request to join our coalition." Another council member spoke up. This was a roquil, a species that looked like intelligent birds. "We must proceed carefully. These humans come from a death world. They are predators. Their technology is based on violence. Their technology saved 300 Velocian lives," another council member countered. "This one was a Thanari like Crystallis. Should we punish them for helping our people?" The debate went on for a while. Some council members were excited about humanity, others were worried. Thesson listened and tried not to be nervous. Finally, Crystallis called for order. "We will hear from witnesses. Commander Thesson, please approach and tell us what happened." Thesson walked to the center of the chamber. All eyes were on him. He took a deep breath. 3 days ago, my ship was attacked by Krell raiders. We sent a distress call to our allies, but the signal was redirected. It reached a human relay station instead. The humans came to help us even though they did not know us, even though we could not pay them, even though there was no benefit to them. He continued, describing the battle. The way the humans fought, the way they protected his ship, the way they drove off the Krell without unnecessary killing. When they boarded my ship, I was frightened, Thesson admitted. They are predators. I could see it. But they were also kind, gentle with my wounded crew. Careful with our equipment. They worked day and night to save my ship and my people. He looked around the chamber. I believe the humans are dangerous, but I also believe they are good. They use their danger to protect others, not to hurt the innocent. When Thesson finished, Captain Hayes was called forward. The human captain looked uncomfortable with all the attention, but he spoke clearly. "We come in peace," Hayes said simply. "We want to join your coalition as friends and partners. We will help defend against threats like the Krell. We will share what we know. We ask only that you teach us about the galaxy and accept us as equals." Ambassador Price spoke last. She was much better at this than Hayes. She talked about Earth's history, about how humans had fought among themselves for thousands of years, but had finally learned to work together. How they had united their whole planet under one government dedicated to peace and exploration. "We are not perfect," Price said. "We have made mistakes. We have fought wars and hurt." They sent an SOS to their allies, but the Deathworlders' fleet arrived instead. The celebration after the vote lasted for hours. Different species mingled in the grand hall outside the council chamber. Thesson found himself surrounded by diplomats and officials, all asking questions about the humans. Everyone wanted to know what they were like. Were they really as dangerous as the report said? Were they friendly? Could they be trusted? Thesson answered as honestly as he could. Yes, they were dangerous. Yes, they were also kind. Yes, he trusted them with his life because they had already saved it once. Across the room, he could see Captain Hayes looking uncomfortable with all the attention. The human captain was surrounded by military officers from various species, all wanting to know about Earth's tactics and technology. Hayes answered politely but kept trying to escape. Ambassador Price, on the other hand, seemed to be in her element. She moved from group to group, shaking hands and making connections. She was a natural diplomat, smooth and charming and always saying the right thing. Corin appeared at Thesson's side with 2 drinks. She handed one to him. "This is overwhelming. I have never seen so many important people in one place." "Neither have I," Thesson admitted. He sipped his drink. It was a Thanari beverage, sweet and cool. "How do you feel about all this?" "The humans joining the coalition?" Corin thought about it. "I think it is good. They saved us, and I think they will save others too. The galaxy needs people who are willing to fight for what is right. Even if those people frighten us, especially then," Corin said. "The Krell frighten people too, but they use fear to hurt others. The humans use fear to protect others. That is the difference." A Thanari official approached them. His name was Vestrin, and he was part of the Military Coordination Office. "Commander Thesson, may I speak with you?" Of course, Vestrin looked uncomfortable. "I wanted to apologize. Your distress call reached our fleet 7 hours after the attack began. We came as fast as we could, but we were too slow, too far away. If the humans had not been there, Tassan put a hand on the Thanari's shoulder. You came. That is what matters. You did not abandon us, but we did not save you either. These strangers did. It is embarrassing. It is also a learning opportunity, Tassan said. The humans were closer because they had ships in that sector. Maybe the coalition needs to think about patrol patterns, about where we put our defensive forces. Vestrin nodded slowly. You are right. The Council is already discussing this. The humans have offered to share their deep space relay network with us. Their sensor stations. They have been mapping this entire region for months, and we never even knew they were here. That is impressive. It is also a little frightening, Vestrin admitted. If they can hide that well, what else can they do? It was a fair question, but Thesson thought about Lieutenant Morrison and Dr. Grant and Lieutenant Commander Chen. He thought about how they had worked to save his crew. I think they can do a lot of good, if we let them. The next morning, Thesson received an unexpected message. The Coalition Council wanted to speak with him privately. Just him and a few select council members. He arrived at the meeting room nervous and curious. Inside, he found Chancellor Crystallis, 2 other Thanari officials, and a Roquil elder named Sarthan. They all looked serious. Commander Thesson, thank you for coming, Crystallis said. Please sit. We need your advice. Thesson sat carefully. My advice? I am just a ship commander. You are the Velocian who knows humans best, Sarthan said. Her voice was musical like all Roquil. You have spent 3 days with them. Observed them. Talked with them. We need to understand them better. What do you want to know? Crystallis leaned forward. Are they truly peaceful? Or are they hiding their real intentions? Thesson considered the question carefully. I think they are both peaceful and dangerous. They do not want war, but they are very good at it. They come from a world that forced them to be survivors, fighters, but also cooperators and community builders. Can we trust them? Another Thanari official asked. I trust them with my life, Thesson said firmly. They saved my crew when they had no reason to. They asked for nothing in return. They worked day and night to help us. That is not the behavior of people with hidden evil intentions. Sarthan made a thoughtful sound. But their weapons, their tactics. They destroyed a Krell attack force with ease. What if they turn that power against the Coalition? Then we would be in serious trouble, Thesson admitted. But why would they? They want to join us, to be part of our community, to learn from us and share with us. That does not sound like conquest, unless it is a long game, the Thanari official said darkly. Join the Coalition, learn our weaknesses, then strike when we are vulnerable. Thesson felt frustrated. With respect, that is paranoia. The humans could have left us to die. They could have ignored our distress call. Instead, they risked their lives to save strangers. That tells me everything I need to know about their character. Crystallis held up a hand. Peace, please. We are not accusing the humans of anything. We are simply being careful. The decision to accept a new species into the Coalition is serious. Especially a species this powerful. I understand, Thesson said, but I think you are worrying about the wrong thing. The question is not whether humans will attack the Coalition. The question is whether the Coalition will accept humans despite their differences. What do you mean? Sarthan asked. I mean that humans are not like us. They eat meat. They come from a violent world. Their entertainment includes simulated combat and competitive fighting. Their history is full of wars and conflict. They are everything the Coalition has tried to move beyond. Thesson paused, but they are also capable of great kindness, great loyalty, great sacrifice. They are what they needed to be to survive their world, and now they want to use those survival skills to help others survive too. The council members looked at each other. Finally, Crystallis spoke. You make a compelling argument, Commander. We will take your words under advisement. As Thesson left the meeting, he felt tired. The past few days had been exhausting. First the attack, then the rescue. Now politics and diplomacy. He just wanted to go home to his family, but he knew there was more work to do. The humans were joining the Coalition, and there would be challenges ahead. Cultural misunderstandings, disagreements about tactics and strategy, species that would never trust the Deathworlders from Earth. Still, Thesson had hope. He had seen what humans could do when they chose to help instead of hurt. He had experienced their kindness firsthand. And he believed that the Coalition would be stronger with them as members. That afternoon, he found Captain Hayes on the observation deck again. The human seemed to like this spot. He was standing alone, looking out at the stars. "Captain, may I join you?" "Of course, Commander." "How are you feeling?" "Overwhelmed," Thesson admitted. "The Council wanted to question me about humans. They are worried about your intentions," Hayes sighed. "I expected that. We are the unknown factor. The wild card. Of course they are nervous. I told them I trust you." Hayes looked at him. "Thank you. That means a lot." They stood in silence for a moment. Then Thesson asked, "What is Earth like?" "Your homeworld?" Hayes smiled. "Beautiful, terrible, both at the same time. We have oceans that stretch for thousands of kilometers, mountains that touch the clouds, forests full of life. But we also have hurricanes that can destroy cities, earthquakes that split the ground open, animals that can kill a human with one bite. It sounds impossible to live there." "It is hard," Hayes agreed, "but it is home, and it made us who we are. Strong, adaptable, willing to face danger to protect what we love." "Is that why you became a soldier? To protect what you love?" Hayes nodded. "I joined the military because I wanted to explore space, to see new worlds, to meet new species. But I stayed because I realized someone needed to protect the explorers, the scientists, the families trying to build new lives on distant colonies. You are a protector. That is a good way to put it, yes. I am a protector." Hayes looked back at the stars. "Earth taught us that the universe is dangerous, but it also taught us that we are stronger together than alone, that communities survive when individuals do not, that protecting others is how we protect ourselves." Thesson thought about this. "I think that message will resonate with the Coalition. We believe in community too, in cooperation." "Then maybe we are not so different after all," Hayes said. Later that evening, Thesson attended a formal dinner in honor of the new alliance. All the important officials were there. Ambassadors, military officers, scientists, cultural representatives. The room was full of different species, all trying to get to know the humans. Thesson found himself sitting next to Lieutenant Morrison. The Marine was dressed in a formal uniform now instead of combat armor. She looked uncomfortable in the fancy setting. "Not used to diplomatic dinners?" Thesson asked. Morrison laughed. "I am much better at breaking down doors and securing hostile areas. Small talk with diplomats is not my strength. You seem to be doing fine. Only because you are here. Having a friendly face nearby helps." The dinner continued with speeches and toasts. Ambassador Price gave a beautiful speech about cooperation and shared futures. Chancellor Crystalis responded with words of welcome and hope. Everyone was very polite and formal, but underneath the formality, they sent an SOS to their allies, but the Deathworlders fleet arrived instead. 2 weeks had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Coalition. Commander Thesson was still on Coalition Station Prime, but now he had a new job. The Council had promoted him and given him an important assignment. He was now the official Velosian liaison to the Earth Embassy. It was strange how quickly things had changed. He had gone from a simple colony ship commander to someone working in interstellar politics. His wife back home thought it was funny. His daughter was just excited that her father was working with the mysterious humans from the Death World. The Earth Embassy was located in the new construction wing of the station. The humans had set it up with incredible speed. Ambassador Price had a staff of 20 people now. Diplomats, military advisors, cultural experts, and scientists. They were working constantly to build relationships with the other coalition species. Thesson walked through the embassy corridors, still getting used to the layout. Everything was built to human scale, which meant everything was slightly too big for him. The doors were taller. The chairs were larger. Even the gravity was adjusted to Earth normal, which was 20% stronger than Velosian standard. He found Ambassador Price in her office, reviewing documents on a holographic display. She looked tired but focused. "Commander Thesson, come in," she said with a smile. "How are you adjusting to your new role?" "Still learning," Thesson admitted. "I have never done diplomatic work before." "Neither had I until 15 years ago," Price said. "I was a biology teacher before I joined the diplomatic corps. Sometimes life takes you in unexpected directions. That is certainly true for me." Price gestured to a chair. "I wanted to talk to you about something. We have been getting reports from our ships in the field. There have been several more encounters with the Krell." Thesson felt concerned. "Violent encounters?" "Not yet. The Krell seem to be testing us, watching our ships. following our patrols. They are trying to figure out how dangerous we really are. That is their way. They are careful despite their reputation as warriors. They study their enemies before attacking. Price nodded. Captain Hayes thinks the same thing. He believes the Krell will eventually challenge us directly. Try to see if we are as tough as we appeared during the rescue of your ship. What will you do if they attack? Defend ourselves. Show them that attacking Earth vessels is a bad idea. Price looked thoughtful. But we do not want to start a war. We just joined the coalition. Starting a major conflict in our first month would not look good. Thesson understood the problem. The Krell respect strength. But they also respect restraint. If you fight back but do not pursue them afterward, they will recognize that as discipline. It might actually make them respect you more. Interesting. We will keep that in mind. There was a knock on the door. Lieutenant Morrison entered, still in her marine armor. She had just come from a training exercise with Coalition security forces. Ambassador Commander, sorry to interrupt, but we have a situation developing. One of our patrol ships, the destroyer Relentless, has encountered a Krell attack fleet. They are not attacking a human ship this time. They are attacking a Roquil research station. Price stood up immediately. How many Krell ships? 15. The research station has no weapons. They are sending a distress call. Where is the nearest Coalition military force? 4 hours away. The Relentless is there now. Captain Ford is asking for instructions. Price looked at Thesson. This is the moment I was worried about. If we fight the Krell to defend a Coalition station, we risk escalating into a full war. If we do nothing, we look weak and we abandon people who need help. Thesson thought quickly. What would Captain Hayes do? Hayes would fight, Morrison said immediately. He would not hesitate. People are in danger. That is all that matters to him. Price made her decision. Send a message to Captain Ford. Tell him to engage the Krell, protect that research station. But show restraint. Disable their ships if possible. Do not destroy them unless necessary. Morrison saluted and left quickly. Price sat down heavily. I hope I made the right choice. You did, Thesson said. The Coalition will understand. You are protecting innocent scientists. That is what the Coalition is supposed to do. Over the next hour, they received updates from the Relentless. The battle was going well for the humans. The destroyer had positioned itself between the Krell fleet and the research station. When the Krell opened fire, the Relentless had responded with precision strikes. 3 Krell ships were disabled with damaged engines. 2 more had their weapon systems destroyed. The rest retreated when they realized they were outmatched. No Krell ships were completely destroyed. No Krell crew members were killed. The human ship had shown perfect restraint while still winning the battle decisively. The Roquil research station was saved. The news spread through the Coalition rapidly. Within hours, everyone knew what had happened. The humans had defended a Coalition facility. They had fought the Krell again and won. But they had also shown mercy. They had disabled enemy ships instead of destroying them. Chancellor Cristella sent a personal message to Ambassador Price. Your people have honored the principles of the Coalition today. You protected the innocent and showed restraint with the enemy. This is what we strive for. But not everyone was happy. A Roquil military commander named Sarthan came to the embassy the next day. She was angry. Ambassador Price, we need to talk about what happened, Sarthan said. Her feathers were ruffled, a sign of agitation in her species. Your ship engaged the Krell without consulting Coalition command. Without coordinating with our forces. This is unacceptable, Price remained calm. Commander Sarthan, the research station was under attack. They were going to die if someone did not help them immediately. We were the only ship in range. But you are not part of the Coalition military command structure yet. You do not have authorization to engage in combat operations independently. Are you saying we should have let your people die while we waited for authorization? Price asked quietly. Sarthan hesitated. No, of course not. But there are procedures, protocols, Thesson spoke up. Commander Sarthan, with respect, the humans saved Roquil lives. They asked for nothing in return, just like they saved my crew. This seems to be a pattern with them. Sarthan looked at Thesson, then back at Price. I am not ungrateful. I am concerned about chain of command, about humans acting independently without oversight. Then help us fix that, Price said. Work with us to integrate Earth forces into the Coalition defense network. Give us the protocols and procedures. We want to cooperate. We just also want to save lives when we can. Sarthan's feathers slowly smoothed down. Fine. I will send liaison officers to work with your military. We will develop proper coordination procedures. But your ships need to understand that they cannot just do whatever they want. Agreed, Price said. We will follow coalition rules, as long as those rules do not prevent us from helping people in immediate danger. It was a compromise. Not perfect, but workable. Sarthan left looking less angry than when she had arrived. Morrison came back in after Sarthan was gone. That could have gone worse. It could have gone better too, Price said. We are going to face this kind of pushback a lot. Other species do not trust us yet. They think we are too aggressive, too independent. They are not completely wrong, Morrison admitted. We do act fast, make decisions quickly. That is how we survive. But maybe we need to slow down a little, learn to work within their systems. Thesson felt proud of how the humans were handling this. They were trying, really trying to fit in and work with others. It was not easy for them. Their instincts pushed them toward fast action and independent decision-making, but they were willing to adapt. Over the following days, human military officers met with coalition commanders. They shared tactical information, discussed coordination procedures, worked out communication protocols. It was slow work, but progress was being made. Captain Hayes arrived on the station to participate in these meetings. Thesson found him one evening in the human recreation area. Hayes was drinking something called coffee and looking at star charts. Captain, how are the military talks going? Hayes looked up, slowly. But that is okay. We need to build trust. That takes time. He gestured to a chair. Join me? Thesson sat down. I wanted to thank you again. For everything. My crew is home now, safe with their families, because of you and your people. I am glad they are safe, Hayes said. How is your daughter? The one who collects rocks? Thesson was surprised Hayes remembered. She is wonderful. I brought her a rock from this station. She added it to her collection. She wants to meet a human someday. Hayes smiled. Bring her next time you come to the station. I will introduce her to some of our crew. We have some geologists who would love to talk to a young rock collector. She would like that very much. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Hayes said, You know, Commander, when we first detected your distress call, we debated whether to respond. Some of my officers argued we should stay hidden, not reveal ourselves, let the coalition handle their own problems, but you came anyway. I came anyway, because I could not ignore someone calling for help. Even if it complicated our mission, even if it revealed our presence. Some things are more important than strategy, Thesson understood. They sent an SOS to their allies, but the Deathworlders' fleet arrived instead. 3 months had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Coalition. Commander Thesson stood in the operations center of Coalition Station Prime, watching displays that showed ship movements across 6 sectors. His new role as liaison officer meant he spent a lot of time here, coordinating between human and coalition forces. The integration was going better than anyone had expected. Human ships now patrolled alongside Thanari cruisers and Roquil scouts. Joint training exercises happened every week. Cultural exchange programs were bringing humans to coalition worlds and coalition citizens to Earth. But there were still problems. And today, one of those problems had become a crisis. Admiral Vestrin of the Thanari fleet stood next to Thesson looking worried. The Krell are massing ships at the border, more than we have ever seen them gather before. Intelligence suggests they are preparing for a major offensive. How many ships? Thesson asked. At least 80, maybe more. They are consolidating their fleet from multiple sectors. Thesson felt cold. 80 ships. That is more than the coalition has ever faced at once. We can field maybe 50 ships in response, if we pull vessels from other duties. Leave some sectors undefended. Vestrin's crystalline features looked strained. It will not be enough. We will lose this battle. Captain Hayes entered the operations center, followed by Admiral Marcus Webb, the commander of Earth's Deep Space Fleet. Webb was older than Hayes, with completely gray hair and a face marked by years of command experience. Admiral Vestrin, Commander Thesson, Webb said in greeting. We got your message. How bad is it? Vestrin showed them the tactical displays. The Krell are preparing to attack the Velocian border colonies. 3 systems with a total population of 2 million. We cannot evacuate that many people in time, and we cannot defend them with the forces we have available. Hayes studied the display. Where are the Earth forces positioned? You have 8 ships in this region, Vestrin said, including the Valiant. But 8 ships cannot face 80 Krell vessels. Even human ships have limits. Webb looked at Hayes. "What do you think, Captain?" Hayes was quiet for a long moment, studying the enemy positions. Then he said, "We need to change the game. The Krell expect a conventional battle. They have the numbers to win that fight. So we do not give them that fight." "What are you suggesting?" Vestrin asked. "Hit them before they are ready. Fast strike. Multiple targets. Make them think we have more ships than we actually do." Hayes pointed to the display. "The Krell fleet is split into 3 groups right now. They will not combine until they reach the attack point. If we hit each group separately, we can even the odds." Vestrin looked skeptical. "That is very risky. What if one of your strike teams gets surrounded? Then they retreat. We are not trying to destroy the entire Krell fleet. Just convince them that attacking Coalition territory is too expensive." Hayes glanced at Webb. "Admiral, we would need authorization from Earth Command for this." Webb nodded. "I will get it. This is exactly why we joined the Coalition, to help defend against threats like this." Over the next 6 hours, the plan came together. Earth would commit 12 ships to the operation. The Valiant and its battle group would hit the largest Krell concentration. 2 smaller groups would strike the other enemy forces. Coalition ships would provide support and be ready to assist if any human vessel got into trouble. It was aggressive, risky, very human, but it was also their best chance. Thesson was in the communications center when the operation began. He listened to the radio chatter from the human ships as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the first Krell group. Captain Hayes' voice came through clearly. "Valiant Battle Group, this is Hayes. Target the command ships first. Disable their coordination. Make them panic." The battle began with shocking speed. The human ships appeared, fired, and were already moving before the Krell could react. Railgun slugs tore through Krell shields. Missiles found their targets with precision. Within 5 minutes, the Krell formation was in chaos. Then the humans vanished, jumping back into faster-than-light travel before the enemy could coordinate a response. 15 minutes later, they hit the second Krell group the same way. Fast, brutal, gone before the enemy could retaliate. The third group was ready for them. The Krell had realized what was happening and set a trap. When the human ships arrived, they found themselves facing a concentrated defensive formation. Thesson listened with growing worry as the battle turned against the humans. 2 ships took heavy damage. The destroyer Relentless reported engine failures. They were trapped, unable to retreat. Then Coalition ships arrived. A Thenari cruiser group that had been waiting nearby jumped in to help. They drew fire away from the damaged human vessels, giving them time to make repairs and escape. It was the first time Coalition and human forces had fought together in a real battle. And it worked. The Krell could not handle both the human aggression and the Thenari defensive tactics working in coordination. The Krell fleet broke. 80 ships scattered across 3 sectors, with 18 disabled and 5 destroyed. The threat of invasion was over. 2 days later, there was a ceremony at Coalition Station Prime. It was not a celebration. People had died in the battle. Ships had been damaged, but it was a recognition of what had been accomplished. Chancellor Crystallis spoke to the assembled representatives. 3 months ago, we welcomed Earth into our coalition with hope and uncertainty. Today, they have proven themselves to be true partners. They risked their ships and crews to defend Velosian colonies. They fought alongside our forces with courage and skill. They are no longer strangers. They are friends. Thesson watched as Crystallis presented medals to Captain Hayes and the other human commanders. The Velosian colonies had been saved. 2 million people were safe because humans had been willing to fight for them. After the ceremony, Thesson found Hayes on the observation deck. The captain seemed tired but satisfied. "You did it," Thesson said. "You saved my people again. First my ship. Now 3 entire colonies." Hayes shrugged. "We had help this time. The Thenari cruisers saved the Relentless. This was a real team effort. The Krell will think twice before attacking the Coalition now. That is the idea. We do not want to fight them. We just want them to understand that attacking us is a bad decision." Hayes looked out at the stars. Peace through strength. It is not perfect, but it works. Thesson thought about everything that had happened. 3 months ago, his ship had been dying. He had sent a distress call hoping his allies would come. Instead, strangers had arrived. Dangerous strangers from a death world, but those strangers had become friends. They had joined the Coalition not as conquerors but as protectors. They had fought when necessary and shown mercy when possible. They had proven that being dangerous and being good were not opposites. My daughter finally got to meet some humans last week, Thesson said. She was so excited. She showed them her rock collection, and they spent 2 hours talking about geology with her. Hayes smiled. I heard about that. Lieutenant Chen said your daughter is remarkably bright. She understands crystalline structures better than some of our trained geologists. She wants to study Earth rocks now. She thinks your homeworld must have fascinating geological diversity. It does. We have rocks from every type of environment. Desert rocks, ocean rocks, volcanic rocks, mountain rocks, even meteor impact rocks. Hayes paused. You know, if she is interested, we could arrange for her to visit Earth, as part of the cultural exchange program. Thesson felt warmth in his chest. She would love that. Thank you. Ambassador Price found them a few minutes later. She looked pleased. Good news. The Coalition Council just approved the full integration of Earth Defense Force ships into the unified command structure. We will have joint operations centers on every major station, shared intelligence networks, coordinated patrol routes. That is excellent, Hayes said. How did you convince them? I did not have to convince them. The battle 2 days ago did that. They saw how well we work together when we coordinate properly. Price smiled. They also saw that humans can take orders from coalition commanders. Admiral Vestron was impressed with how quickly your captains responded to his tactical suggestions. We are team players, Hayes said. We just needed time to learn how the team works. Over the next few weeks, the changes became visible throughout coalition space. Human ships carried coalition observers. Coalition ships carried human advisors. Joint training became standard practice instead of special events. The different species learned from each other. Humans taught other species about rapid response tactics and aggressive maneuvering. Coalition species taught humans about advanced sensors and energy management. Everyone became stronger together, the Krell noticed. They stopped testing coalition borders, stopped attacking weak targets. The humans had changed the balance of power in the region. But it was not just about military strength. Human scientists were sharing research with coalition institutes. Human artists were collaborating with alien creators. Human doctors were working in coalition hospitals, learning to treat different species while teaching human medicine. Corin came back from her 6-month assignment on the Valiant full of enthusiasm. She had learned advanced engineering techniques and made friends with humans.